Hello, what's up, y'all? So, I know, very strange timing to release this video, because as your boy always does, he just seems to be late on everything. But still, this is something I've always wanted to do. Nothing gets more exciting than postseason basketball, so yeah, let's get straight into it. We can go straight into the ones that I will take less time with, the 1-8 matchup specifically. So, Orlando, Detroit. Congratulations, Orlando, I guess. Yeah, I'm not gonna try to hide my biases here. I was rooting heavily for Charlotte, so when that first half happened, just disappointed, I guess is the word. Now, I don't think it will be a sweep by any means when Orlando faces Detroit. I think Orlando has enough to at least steal a game. But still, just how both teams are, just how Orlando executes down the stretch, and how Detroit executes down the stretch, I definitely favor Detroit a bit more. Hopefully Cade is at 100%. I know that's kind of like a tough thing to ask for since, he's literally recovering from a collapsed lung of all injuries. But as we've seen him during the regular season, he was super clutch, especially in the fourth quarter, and you can't ask for anything better from your superstar. So with that, I have Pistons in 5. On to the other 1-8 matchup, OKC versus Phoenix. Yeah, just another series that will go by quick. Now, I will tune into every game, of course, because I am just so attached with this Phoenix team. Healthily, I might add. But there are a lot of players on that Suns roster that I'm just fans of. Colin Gillespie, he broke the Suns single season record for most threes made. His slip screen chemistry with Iguodala is just so underrated. I'm just a fan of that so much. Just the connection they built together. Jordan Goodwin, another guy, he was so huge in that victory against Golden State. I love his 3-point celly where he goes like this. I'm just a really big fan of guys like him. I'm definitely copying a jersey of his soon, not afraid to admit it. Ryan Dunn, also Iguodala getting actual playoff experience. I'd love to see that. I'm not sure how many minutes the duo is gonna get though. I'm sure Oso will get more than Dunn because OKC does have that tendency. They're trying to make guys who aren't the best percentage-wise beat them. But with all that, OKC is just such a powerhouse. I know the season series was closer than people anticipated, but just thinking about the matchups, just how the coaches fare against each other, how Luka and Dort would constantly go after Devin Booker, and if it's not Luka and Dort, it'll be Alex Caruso and Kaysen Wallace. How SJ always seems to be so efficient. Ryan Dunn could change that, but again, as I mentioned earlier, he would have to knock down his triples. So yeah, I think it'll be going to 5. In favor of OKC, obviously. But I would definitely make sure to savor every moment of the Sun season because you couldn't ask for anything better. And yeah, pretty much it. Also hoping for some Man minutes, aka Come On Malawach. I think I pronounced Man. Is it Man or Man? Anyways, he was good in his sparse minutes against the Warriors. Kind of surprised that Coach Ott didn't go back to him. I mean, they did end up winning eventually. Also, that's another thing. Coach Ott kind of has this fascination with small ball. I mean, there were like several moments where Haywood Highsmith and Royce O'Neal will share the 5. But yeah, I'm not sure how much Coach Ott is going to rely on that. But yeah, I mean, hopefully we see some Malawach minutes. I like the guy. I think he's improving in the second half of the season. But yeah, moving on to our 2-7 matchups. We can stay in the Western Conference because San Antonio versus Portland, I think this is going to be another 5-game series. But Portland is going to make it so tough for San Antonio just because of personnel alone. You look at Toumani Camara, Drew Holiday, Denny Avdia, Matisse Thybulle, literally 4 premium defenders. I mean, especially if you can put Kamara on Wemby and just see how that goes. Because that's kind of been, I guess, not like a big issue, but it's been a talking point with Wembanyama. You just put like a very physical, nice defensive forward on him instead of a center, and he kind of just, I guess, struggles or needs some time to get adjusted to the physicality. Now, I'm not saying that's Portland's answer. I think Wembanyama will definitely overcome that once he gets used to it. But yeah, just those matchups I'm talking about. Portland will get up in your face, they'll full court press. It's going to be very, very annoying for San Antonio. I can imagine San Antonio's lack of experience kind of catching up to them in crucial moments if they get like frustrated with Portland's constant defense. So I think ultimately that can lead to Portland stealing a game. However, San Antonio's depth is just too much. De'Aaron Fox, I think he'll kind of cruise through the series. I know I just mentioned the amount of defenders Portland has, but most of the attention will be on Wemby. De'Aaron Fox can definitely take guys off the dribble. He's so fast, as you all know. So he'll be the big reason as to why San Antonio will just cruise through, but it's not going to be an easy cruise through, if you get what I'm saying. Anyways, moving on to our next 2-7 matchup, Boston versus Philly. Oh boy. So this will be definitely more competitive if Embiid was available to play, but Once again, it just seems to be this constant, I guess, dark cloud following him. Literally appendicitis days before the playoffs. Jeez, man. Now, to anyone new here, I am a Celtics fan, but I will admit if Embiid is playing, this series will go to 7. Like, that's just my honest opinion. He is that good. As much as I love Keita, I'm not sure if there's really much he can do with Embiid. But if Embiid's not playing, this series will go to 6 in favor of Boston. Now, I do think Maxey and Edgecombe will get their fair share of buckets. Maxey, it will be much more easier for him. VJ, I think he'll kind of struggle with Hugo and Jordan on him. The main reason why I don't have Philly winning this is just the lack of depth. Big man rotation, they're completely fine. Bona and Drummond will give Celtics problems. Dominic Barlow has had some nice moments for Philly. Trendon Watford, I really wish it panned out better for him. But hey, who knows, maybe he could provide some spark if they really need it in like the forward position. Justin Edwards, yeah, I definitely remember when he can light it up, when he can get it going. It's just the guard rotation. You know, as told a million times before, they traded Jared McCain for not a favorable package, and they signed Cameron Payne for the veteran minimum. I believe it was for the veteran minimum. Wow, just great pronunciation there. But Payne has also been injured, and his play hasn't been the best, so he got waived in favor of the converting of Dalen Terry. So that doesn't leave really a lot for the guard rotation, unless there's someone that I'm forgetting. You know, I think it's just going to end up in Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe playing 40 plus minutes a lot in this series. Now, this is not anything new for them. Tyrese Maxey, something with my pronunciation in this video, but Tyrese Maxey leads the league in minutes played. It's just that they're definitely going to need some rest, so I'm worried that when they go to the bench, no one can really step up. It's actually funny how I said I'm worried when they go to the bench. I'm actually not worried at all. As a Celtics fan, I'm rooting for that. Also, PG-13, I know he's been playing well as of late, but he's definitely going to be relied upon a lot. So I guess he is my X factor. But yeah, I think JB and JT will be too much for Philly. And once again, Boston prevails over the 76ers. Alright, so on to 3 and 6. And this is where things definitely get more intense, starting with New York and Atlanta. Yeah, this is not going to hit the same. I know the rosters back in 2021 were totally different, but yeah, man. Shout out to Trey, man. Hopefully he can get things going in Washington. Anyways, I have New York winning in 6, but Atlanta's obviously, as a lot of people are saying in the community, they're definitely going to make it tough. They're going to spam Brunson and Cat in the pick and rolls as much as they can. And if there's one thing we know about Coach Quinn Snyder, he can cook up an offensive set. Like, he knows how to, whether it's out of bounds or just a pick and roll. When you think of the personnel at hand, how Jalen Johnson is leading the way, and how he can combine that with Onyeka Okongwu, Corey Kispert, CJ, or like another, prominent driver for Atlanta. Like, Quinn Snyder can cook up some things. Now, ultimately, I don't think Atlanta's depth will be enough for New York's depth. And same with the star players. I think OG Anunoby will give Jalen Johnson so many fits, like it won't be funny at that point. Jalen Johnson can, he can get his fair share of buckets, but this will be the first time where so much attention will be on him, as he is now the number 1 option and the new face of Atlanta. And there's been a lot of talking about how Cat and Jalen's defense will give New York a lot of problems, which obviously fair, but I feel like what kind of gets overlooked, like we discussed that to the point where we forget that Cat and Brunson are actually really elite offensively. Knicks fans know that obviously, but I don't know if it's just me, but I've just seen so many discussions of the defense where it's just like, Atlanta's not the best defensively either, right? So yeah, I have New York in 6, but Coach Quinn Snyder, I believe there will be a few plays where I'm just like, I love that. Also, if Jonathan Kuminga can play like he did when he was with the Warriors against the Timberwolves, that one series, that'll be nice, but yeah, it should be fun. And speaking of fun, Denver and Minnesota, ooh. This being a first round matchup, unbelievable. Definitely one of the most consistent rivalries the NBA has, but I will have Denver in 6. I believe Anthony Edwards, he can go Super Saiyan, lead Timberwolves to winning a couple of games. Julius Randle can also put in some strong efforts as well, as we've seen in that last playoff run. Ayo Dosunmu, Naz Reid, they can definitely give some punch off the bench. But this Nuggets team, I feel like is much better than the previous year. There's only so much we can praise about Jokic and Murray, but they're finally healthy again. Aaron Gordon, in the regular season when he was gone, we were just talking about if the Nuggets are actually contenders, but now that he's back, 12-game win streak? Coincidence? Also, Peyton Watson, just growing every part of his game during that time where Jokic was out gives me a lot of confidence in him. I don't think he's gonna do something similar to that level, but I think when he's asked upon to create something for himself or show up in the big moments, I think he'll step up. Christian Brown and Cameron Johnson, they've struggled early on, but as of late, they're getting hot at the right time, particularly Cam Johnson. We've been waiting for so long, so I guess better late than never. And the depth, Valanciunas, I think he will get cooked, but Tim Hardaway Jr., Bruce Brown, maybe Julian Strawther. I think those three can really propel Denver even more, so sorry Minnesota fans. As disappointing as it would be for those two Western Conference Finals to be the highest you can get, I do think this Denver Nuggets team will be a little bit too much. Next up, the 4 and 5. Houston and LA, man. Poor Lakers fans, man. Just one night, it seemed like everything fell apart. Luka and Austin Reeves, I have a hard time believing they can come back from their injuries just in time to at least play in some games in this series. So it'll be one last hurrah for LeBron. But yeah, I think Houston will be too much. To some people's surprise, I have this series going to 6 games in favor of Houston because, Houston, they definitely surprised me a lot, and not in the best ways. Just the clutch execution down the stretch, how some of their offense is sometimes. It just does not give me any, confidence in them. They will miss Steven Adams a lot. I don't think Houston's offensive rebounding will be so one-sided, but, Clint Capella's there, and DeAndre Ayton, just really inconsistent. I know there was that one stretch where everyone's like, oh, it's the old Ayton again. But, there were times where he really locked in, so I'm just not sure how he's gonna fare, honestly. But yeah, maybe he has a chip on his shoulder playing against Capella, as we all know. But yeah, Houston going in 6, they're definitely going to shoot themselves in the foot in a couple games, but, LA's depth is just not enough. The other 4 and 5 matchup, Cleveland and Toronto. Now, I know Toronto swept the season series, but that was before the James Harden trade. That was even before the Dennis Schroeder and Keon Ellis trades, and Max Strus is also new to Toronto's preparing schematics and stuff, because I believe he made his season debut very late. So I don't think Toronto is completely shooketh seeing this new roster, but it's definitely not the same as it was before. James Harden's playmaking will definitely elevate Cleveland and give Toronto problems, especially if Pirtle's on the floor. That's one of my major concerns with Toronto, just Jakob Pirtle and how much they rely on him. I know he's good, close range and offensive rebounding, but man, defensively, I do not trust him one single bit. It doesn't help he's dealing with injuries for almost the entire season. So yes, I believe he will get targeted a lot, and he will get cooked a lot. Now, fortunately for Toronto, they do have a lot of experience playing without Pirtle. Colin Murray-Boyles at the 5, I believe, is their most favorable scenario. I believe he's one of those X factors. And I guess another great question now that we're on the topic matter is how physical can he be? Or how, I guess the better way of phrasing is how physical Allen and Mobley will be. Colin Murray-Boyles, he will bring the physicality. It's silly of me for questioning him. But for questioning Allen and Mobley, it's not that silly because there were times previously where they just got outmatched. That's not going to decide everything, but Scotty Barnes and Colin Murray-Boyles, I believe they will give them some trouble. But the problem with Colin Murray-Boyles on the floor, which I guess is another transition to another flaw I have for Toronto, is perimeter shooting. Not just CMB, but also Jamal Shed, Scotty Barnes, RJ Barrett. He can hit some clutch shots, but his main strength is just attacking, drawing fouls. So those 4 guys I mentioned, they are going to be trusted with a lot of minutes. But yeah, that perimeter shooting, I'm just not really a fan of. So I will have Cleveland actually taking care of business in 5 games. It will be unsurprising to me if this goes 6. But I think just Cleveland's overall experience of just because these games will be close, so just Cleveland handling these type of minutes in the clutch, I think it will help them more. But Toronto's definitely not going to make it easy. So yeah, that's the first round. So I guess now we will go to my semifinal matchups. OKC versus Houston. KD gonna get booed every single time he steps on the floor in OKC. That would be glorious. What won't be glorious though is Houston matching up against OKC. I have this series going to 5 games. With OKC, I feel like it's beating a dead horse at this point. There's just so much talent over there. Some guys aren't performing to their standards. Let's say Caruso isn't playing well. Oh well, they can just sub in Isaiah Joe. If Cason Wallace struggles with his 3-point shot, they can sub in Jared McCain. Can't believe they have Jared McCain still. So yeah, I guess the only thing bringing OKC down besides their perimeter shooting is the health. J-Dub, this is the most injured I've seen him in quite a while, so I'm not sure how that will go, but maybe I'm overthinking it, over-dramatizing. I guess OKC does have some problems, how they perform in the clutch, but they have SGA for that. And if not SGA, Jay will. It always seems he hits a clutch 3-pointer, so yeah, I have no worries. OKC will head back to the Western Conference Finals once again. The other Western Conference semifinal matchup, Denver and San Antonio. Ah, this will be so awesome. This will be so, so awesome. But I do have Denver at 7. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes 7 in San Antonio's way, but Denver's experience, just Jokic and Murray. I understand Stephon Castle and Wemby, they're definitely gonna make life harder. But it's just the experience, man. And Aaron Gordon as well. As we seen in I believe it was the final regular season matchup, Gordon was locking Wemby up. I'm not gonna lie, in some of those possessions. So also Peyton Watson defensively, I don't know how I don't know how I didn't mention P-Watt for his defensive efforts, but he's definitely gonna come in huge there. Christian Brown too. Also no shame in San Antonio losing. I mean, we talk about OKC in their Dallas series back in 2024. They were the number 1 seed. Things didn't go well for them. They got better in the offseason, and look where they're at now. So yeah, I believe San Antonio is on like a similar scenario. So not really much of a shame to lose to Jokic and company. But who knows, maybe they won't lose. It's just gonna be, oh, I got my popcorn, y'all. Now, moving on to the Eastern Conference side, Detroit and Cleveland. I have Detroit winning in 6 games because I do think their physicality will just be a bit much for Donovan Mitchell and James Harden. Speaking of which, Spider and the Beard. They're known to just not have any playoff success past the second round. And I think with a team like Detroit, that trend will continue. You know, I get if Donovan Mitchell and James Harden is like this deadly duo, they can overcome any defense imaginable, like I get that. But I think Detroit's personnel, no matter who they throw at them, whether it's Ron Holland, Asar Thompson, like they're not gonna like shut down per se. Maybe with Harden a little, but they're definitely gonna slow them down. JB Bickerstaff definitely knows some of Cleveland's players there, so there's some familiarity he can work with. I guess the only thing knocking Detroit is pretty much the perimeter shooting. During the regular season, it seems like every time I tune into their games, I just see way too many Javonte Green corner threes for my liking. I really hope that it's not a playoff scenario, or maybe Green just hits his shots and that can solve everything, but you know, past experiences say that isn't really likely. Also, Tobias Harris and Karis LeVert are big X factors. Like, of all the X factors I mentioned in this video, those two are probably going to be the biggest ones. I mean, it's fine if they have their struggles against a lower seed in Orlando, but that's not really the same story with someone like Cleveland. But yeah, I have Detroit in 6. Moving on to the conference finals for first time in, I don't know how long, maybe 2004 when they got that championship, but congrats to them. But the other Eastern Conference semifinal matchup, Boston and New York. You know, as much as the Celtics fan of me would just love to say Celtics in 5, season 6 even, the basketball fan of me is just saying otherwise, which sucks, but I mean, but that's just how it is. A lot of the players on the Celtics roster, this is the first time where they've been given major responsibility. And it's just going to continue even more in the playoffs. Jordan Walsh and Hugo especially, I am hoping they do well. I mean, I'm talking about them in New York, but Philly also, like hopefully they do well there. But yeah, if they're not knocking down their triples, then it's going to be ugly. Once Keita comes off the bench, that's where I'm going to worry a lot. Vucevic, I mean, he's experienced, but he can also be taken advantage a lot, similar to how Cat can be taken advantage on defense. And for New York, obviously how Tibbs runs it is different than how Mike Brown runs it, so maybe defensively things could go better for Boston, but that's only hypothetical. And also, Mike Brown going deep into his bench is much more beneficial. Just imagine, under Tibbs, you will never see Diawara getting minutes. When New York is in need of some energy spark, Diawara is the perfect candidate. Also, McBride and Clarkson give us some trouble. Hopefully we don't miss a gajillion threes this time. So, season 7. Season 7. Let's go with that. Alright, conference finals, y'all. Oh, it just seems to get harder and harder every time we just move on. But Denver and OKC, I actually have Denver winning this. As much as the signs point to OKC repeating because they're just that good, something about Denver. I mean, Denver took them to 7 games last season, or last postseason, and that's with a horrible bench. Now, yeah, I mean, if THJ and Bruce Brown don't show up, then that's a different story, but, you know, that I feel like that will give OKC some fits. Combine that with OKC's really inconsistent perimeter shooting, I think the tips scale towards Denver more. I mean, it's not too crazy of a statement to make. Now, if AJ Mitchell can, you know, lead the offense when Shea's on the bench, if he can do that well, then yeah, Denver is in a lot more trouble. But Aaron Gordon, Peyton Watson, and Christian Brown, those 3 guys, like, I just have so much faith in them. I feel like a broken record. What's another word for faith? A big question is how much can we trust David Adelman as a coach? You know, there's been a lot of questions, but I think that's more so when AG was out. I feel like he'll be fine. I mean, he did make some great adjustments, especially with throwing Shea off. with their zone look in the last series. It was kind of like combination, like a hybrid of both zone and man, but yeah, it's gonna be very close. I have this as going to 7. When we think about just cruising through the regular season, the Nuggets are the epitome of it. I mean, just their losses, they've had some bad losses and some questionable wins, but whenever I see them, a lot of the times, I could tell when they're not giving them much effort. And I could also tell when they have a matchup or a contest circled on their calendar. And hey, I believe they're gonna bring their A game. Yeah, the more I'm talking about it, the more I'm feeling more confident about it. Alright, so Detroit and Boston. It's funny because I could see both teams just flame out here in the conference finals round. What sucks is I haven't watched much Detroit Pistons games to my liking, mostly because of like personal reasons, so I guess if we're going off of vibes, if Cade is just at 100%, if he's seriously recovered from the injury and it's all behind him, I have Detroit winning. That's just how great of a player he is. Jalen Duren too, how we will counter him. Like I know Mazzulla likes to do this thing of putting Tatum or Brown on centers or lob threats, but I don't know if that's a good thing to do with Jalen Duren. You can do it with like someone like Lively, but Jalen Duren has improved so much with his post game. He even shoots some middies now. Also, we cannot play the foul game with Duren. Like he's improved his free throw percentage, so I believe that will give us a lot of problems. Actually, what's crazy, I went through all the Detroit segments without talking about Duncan Robinson for a single bit. That is actually really bad of me. Wow, I did not. And Kevin Huerter. We're talking about perimeter shooting and I just don't mention the two, but I can totally see Duren taking advantage of Vucevic, whether just off the dribble or just those handoffs with Robinson and Huerter, because Vuce loves drop coverage. That's all he has these days. Yeah, Pistons in 6 or 7. Dang it. They are for real as a 1 seed, as you can tell. So Detroit and Denver, wow. Isaiah Stewart would definitely, that will be the series where he gets asked the most minutes. But I think this is where Detroit's magical run ends. I would love to see a 7-game series of this. I think it would be magical, but I think Jokic is just so like, it's been repeated so much, but I can't go against him. I can't doubt him. I can have some doubts with like guys like Shea or Brunson. Not a lot, because they're special, but with Jokic, there's none of that. Yeah, Denver Nuggets are my 2026 NBA champions. They will be the one that prevails in this playoffs, but it's not going to be easy. This is going to be the toughest path since 2011, I believe. Overtaking Minnesota, who have known to be their most consistent rivals, sometimes the reason for their downfall. Then taking down San Antonio, which I feel like is just down to a matter of experience, and then taking down the defending champions in OKC, who started the season 24-1. If they can survive SGA's clutchness, and then move to the NBA Finals and take down the Detroit Pistons, one of the most physical teams in this modern era. Wow, that's tough, but it's possible. That's the thing. All of this is so feasible to me. Yeah, it will be quite a run. It will be quite a playoffs. Who knows? Maybe Denver doesn't. I don't know, man. I don't know what's gonna happen. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I'll try to get this video out before at least the second game on today's slate, because for some reason I just love to be late on everything. But yeah, we'll see.